I'm going to run through the 6 syllable types of English. Now, English is tricky because about 85% of it is decodable. Some people say 40, some people give up to 90. Is decodable, meaning I can break it apart using rules. The other parts of it is it does not follow any rules, or we're using loan words. But about 85% of it we can if we know the rules. Now, the biggest piece to remember is that we have the rules, but we also have to think of them as being flexible. So there's options within the rules for it. So I found that the easiest way to start off teaching these rules or the different types is to start off with an open syllable. And what I mean by an open syllable is I might have the word like be, or I could have hi, or I might have my. Whenever I'm teaching syllables, I'm always saying, look at that vowel, the very first vowel, and then see what happens. Because when we get into multiple syllable words, things change. So I'm looking here at the E. There's nothing after it, so I know that it's open, and it makes the vowel say its name. Same thing here. There's nothing after it. The vowel is long. Anytime I do that line, it means it's a long sound, and the vowel says its name, so it's hi. Same here. The Y is acting as a vowel, and it is open. Now, I might see something like this, where I'm going to have a multiple syllable word. I'm looking at that very first vowel. Do I go ah, I-O? No, it goes O, hi, O. So I start looking at that flexibility already with where do my words and my syllables, my syllables break up. So I've got O, hi, O, because all of those are long. Sometimes we'll see rule breakers with the open syllable with something like animal. I don't say as an, I, mal, right? I'm saying as an, mole. We're right here. I'm here a schwa. So it should be an open syllable, but it's not because it's making that sound. Schwa is just a fancy way to say that we've got an alternate vowel sound happening, and it's usually an and it's usually in multiple syllable words. So I always tell kids, especially if I'm reading multiple syllable words and it doesn't quite sound right, try an to see if it makes sense to you. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do my word hi. This is a great way for me to start introducing a closed syllable. So when I have a closed syllable, it goes like this. The consonant closes in the vowel and it makes it short, and it becomes a closed syllable. So I tap it out as h, it, it, hit. I could have the same thing with my B, and I could come in here and I would have the consonant closed in the vowel and made it short, and it's a closed syllable. Now I have some exceptions with my closed syllables. Let's think about this word here. I can say this as wind, like it blows, or I could have it wind, like a wind-up clock. So it could be short, or it could be long. So if it's long, it's a closed syllable, and it's a rule breaker, or it's an exception. We see these a lot with like wild, or that wind, or the wind example. I might see it as in old, as in cold, or oast, as in post. And if I can start memorizing those, it's going to make my life a lot easier. I also might have it like this, olt, as in molt. So again, I tell the kids, if it doesn't quite sound right, I know that's a closed syllable, give it a long vowel and see if that makes sense to you. Again, it's just teaching them that flexibility. So if I have my closed syllable, so I have hid. If I add the E on it, it's an easy way for me to do vowel consonant E. So the E comes in, it's silent, and it makes the vowel say its name. So it's a vowel consonant E. I could have the same thing, or I could do a nonsense word, right? Like I might do flut. It's a closed syllable, but as soon as I add that E, it becomes flute. And I teach them now that U can make the or the oo sound within this. The rule breaker would be if I have something, think about here. I can say this as live, or I can say this as live. It's live, then the E is still silent, but it's short, so it's a vowel consonant E, but it's a rule breaker. I could also see it in something like this, give. where the consonant short, and it's a vowel consonant E, and it's a rule breaker. So that's vowel consonant E. It's an easy transition from vowel consonant E to the consonant LE syllable. So I'm looking at a word like puzzle. It's always going to have 2 syllables. So I've got puz, which is a closed syllable, and then zol. It's a consonant LE. The E is silent and it blends together and you get that zol sound. I also see it in a word like bubble. We hear bub-bull. I could even have it with an open like bugle. So I'm looking at that vowel. I see that consonant LE. I know it's not going to work. So it's going to be the consonant LE. And then this is an open. Oops. It's going to be an open down here. That E is silent and it blends together. Now the exception for consonant LE is if I have a word like castle or hustle, right? So what happens here is I've got the castle, I've got a closed syllable again, but the T is silent. So it's a consonant LE, but I'm not giving that letter, or I'm not giving the consonant that sound, so it is a silent letter, and so it is a rule breaker. So that is the consonant LE. Now these next 2, I always have to help students the most because it's the one where you have to be the most flexible. So the next one is R controlled, and it sometimes is what we'll call bossy R. We see it in 2 ways. The first way is that I'm going to have one vowel and it's going to be followed by an R, and that R helps change the sound of the vowel. So I might see this in star, because when I'm tapping out star, I don't go stara, right? That doesn't work. The R is changing the sound of it and it's making it be star. I could also have it as in something like word, where the R is changing. I'm not saying ward, right? Like ward. I'm trying it as erd. So I always tell kids, whenever you're trying to figure out it like this, it might make an and it might make an might make an or, might make the R, might make an So try out those different sounds to see how it sounds. It's usually one of the and it could look any way. And when they're spelling it, I always tell them, look and see which type of looks right. And this is the one that they have to be the most flexible with. So the first example is that the R comes after and it changes the sound of it. Now I might have a rule breaker within that first, or I could have something like berry on a multiple syllable word. Berry, where that R is actually is not influencing the sound and then I've got e. So it's actually a closed syllable, and then I've got the open syllable there for berry. So I have that where I'm flexible on my sounds, or I also might have it where I might have a silent letter within my R controlled syllable. So we might think about something like this. I'm not saying this as P-arl or P-arl and breaking it up there. The R is changing the sound of this and it's making it pearl or pearl, right? I'm giving the kids options for this, but this right here, the A is silent on it. So we see that also in R controlled. And again, I would just circle the whole thing together. You might also see it as in like door, where the R is changing the sound of the vowel. I could also see it in like a multiple syllable word, like treasure. The R is not influencing this because it comes before the vowels, but the R is influencing the U, and the E is still silent, but it's changing the sound of the U. So treasure. Again, it's just identifying. I'm not getting so strict about making sure every single mark is correct, but I want them to be able to be flexible with how they think through it. The other way that the last syllable type is the D syllable. And the D syllable, like the R, has 2 different ways that it looks. The first way is we're going to have the vowel digraph, meaning I've got 2 vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. So that's going to be something like road, where the O gets the long, the A is silent, and it's a D syllable. I might see it as in feel. The 2 vowels go there. I might also have it in something like read. Now, the rule breaker for this type on the D syllable is I have read. I can also be short and it can be read. And so I always teach kids to pay attention to the different ways that I could have a long or a short. It would also look like breath or friend, where I'm not saying the first vowel sound. So I'm going to have that there. So my first part is going to be like E-E, E-A, O-A. Now what I see on the second is called a diphthong, And what I have for those is it's the two vowels coming together and they're making a new sound. So I might have something like so. Now if I was doing it like sounding it out, I'm going to spell it this way, but we know that English has more than one way to spell it and has multiple meanings. This is where they also learn that W acts as a vowel. So here, if I just tapped out so, it doesn't make sense. This W is changing the sound and it's acting as a vowel, so it's so. I might also have it like boil, where I'm not doing bowl. Well, sometimes in the South you might hear that. But I've got boil, and it comes together and it makes a new sound. You might even see it here, and this is also confusing, but just naming it helps the kids see that I have it here as 8, because it sounds like 8 in that regard. But I tell them that we've got to watch out for that GH, because those silent letters can change the sound of the vowel. So having word walls or having some sort of flexibility of knowing the rules and having these posted and being able to add it makes a huge difference for their kids in the understanding, both how to read and both how to spell one syllable and multiple syllable words. I hope this makes sense to you. And if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out.